Bryce Young has been benched by the Carolina Panthers, and rightfully so, because it's just been a horrendous start. 2-16 in his NFL career. Just another poor performance so far in the first two games. No touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Yeah. I mean, we could go on and on and on. And it's not – and the Panthers have been outscored 73-13. And it's not just him. They have a poor offensive line. There's other issues and about weapons and all kinds of other stuff. But he just hasn't been able to do anything there. And when you get pulled for Andy Dalton, who's not going to take you anywhere, maybe home dinner or show, you know what I mean? Nothing serious. It just tells you that they're so frustrated that they're just saying, just put anybody else in. We got to take the kid out. And I think you can't look at this situation with Bryce Young and act like this is a bump in the road. I think this move right here, this soon in his career, officially bust mode. I mean, that's where I think he is now.
When you say bump in the road, are you saying bump in the road for the team, or are you saying bump in the road for him? Because if you're saying him, then that's when I'll disagree. If you're saying the team, then clearly, right, they have no identity. And we know one thing, in any league, in anything you do, you have to have an identity. And usually you can make sense of something. Like, let's say this was the equivalent to what the Detroit Pistons might do. Say, hey, look, we ain't going to make no big moves because, if we lose again, there's a Cooper flag on the other side. What the Panthers are doing right now, you don't know what they're doing. They don't have an identity on either side of the ball. And what makes this bad, Rob, is not just that Bryce Young is playing bad. It's that, to me, the whole entire front is bad. The offensive line is bad. The weapons are bad. The offensive play call is bad. The defensive side of the ball is bad. And he's coming into this on a couple things, Rob. He's coming in. Now, let's go back. So I got the chance to kind of cover this kid. He's from Southern California, went to Mater Dei, won championships or competed for championships there, goes to Alabama, balls out, wins a Heisman. So all of a sudden, it's not as if he can't play. But sometimes you go to the wrong environment. And who's done anything in Carolina in the last 7-8 years since Cam Newton didn't jump on a Super Bowl in the Super Bowl?
Here's where we're going to disagree, because I'm not saying it's the perfect situation.
Right.
But you also can't give this kid a pass and act like, because CJ Stroud was drafted after him.
Yeah.
And he's lighting up the world, and I get it. When he got to Houston with a new coach and no one was expecting any of it. Would you admit that?
Right.
No one was expecting. So I can't look at it and just be like, well, it's all Carolina's fault. And then you go, well, except for the time they went to the Super Bowl. Well, except for the time. Well, the bottom line is, does he look like a good quarterback to you at this point?
Absolutely not.
And that's where the issue is. He's undersized. He doesn't look like a good quarterback. Like, he's just, from the eye test, forget about the stats, like the eye test. And number 3, the guy drafted after him, is balling out.
That
so
hurts.
He looks even worse.
That hurts.
When you add all that together, and that's why he's in this predicament.
Well, that's why the only thing I was saying about the speed bump is, you and I, let's say the odd couple with Rob and Kelvin was happening 3 years ago, we'd have been having the same conversation about Sam Darnold, right? He looked pretty good at SC. He wasn't doing anything now. Didn't he do anything in Carolina? Didn't do anything. Was a backup in 49ers and didn't do anything with the Jets. And there's opportunities. Sometimes you get these opportunities with a team that believes you, that has an identity, that has a system. So right now, Bryce Young absolutely deserves this benching, without a doubt. Only
but
thing I was
you're just not into the bust thing yet.
Yeah, it's too soon. He's 23 years old. Just turned 23 like a month ago. He's 23 years old.
So you can't be a bust at 23?
No,
you can be a bust at 21 if you're no good.
You can be a bust, but I think his track record as far as high school, then college, has shown that he's willing to work for it. He's willing to get better. No coach has ever said anything bad about him. Now, does he have to turn around and all of a sudden be, the reincarnation of Joe Montana? No. But I'm saying I'm gonna reserve the bust for now. Benching, absolutely. Might have to hold a clipboard for the next 2-3 years, absolutely. But I'm not gonna say he's a bust right now. But I just think it's a disappointment when you look at the Panthers right now as a whole. Usually, Rob, there's something you can point to, even as a fan, and say, "Man, we suck right now." But at least our defense, blank.
No,
right?
I agree. The Panthers are a bad organization. They got a lot of issues. But just the eye test is the problem with Bryce Young. There have been quarterbacks, who are on bad team. You look at him and go, no, this guy can play.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
You just got to protect him. And if they do this and add some weapons, this guy can play. So it just doesn't feel like that. And I think he's in a bad spot. And then just the idea of going to Andy Dalton, like that's a dead end. There's nothing there other than instead of saying we're just going to play this kid and really see if we can get something out of him. But you saw some of the plays this past Sunday where he's running around and running the wrong way, and Thielen, one of the receivers, was visibly upset. He just threw a couple of really bad balls. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff there to unpack where you could easily say, my God, the Panthers blew it by picking Bryce Young. That's what.
Yeah. And now to get on Bryce Young, because let me get on Bryce Young. He has not looked great. He hasn't had anything that, as of now, makes you hang your hat on something and say, all right, if we tighten up this offensive line, which, by the way, is currently last in the league.
No, their offensive line is horrendous.
So that's why I said there's a lot of factors against him. However, to be fair, against him, he hasn't done anything to make you say, man, he's going to look special if this. So that's why the benching occurs with him. But other thing that he's also doing, Rob, and this is applicable in life in so many different aspects. You know what else he's doing? He's setting us vertically challenged brothers back. Okay? Now, Elijah, don't laugh. Okay? Your boy was 4'11" in high school. So this 5'10" and almost 10.5 stature right now.
4'11", really?
Why too much 11 in your voice? 11?
4'11".
I was taller than you in high school, by the way.
You know what? If I would have seen you in high school at 4'11", I would have come up to you and picked you up.
And I would have I'm telling you, I'd have put you in the locker. Your boy didn't play. You know how the short dudes, they always the crazy ones. Don't let this baby face fool you, okay? Now,
did you get roughed up at 4'11"?
I was first of all, I was too cool to get roughed up. Everybody liked Dub. Everybody, what up? I like Dub, man. What up, Dub? I was too cool.
Okay.
However, where I'm going with this is your boy kept growing a little bit, right? Got to this whole 5'10.5". I feel like I'm 6'5", Rob.
Oh, I bet.
Where I'm going with this is, what was the conversation with Bryce Young when he was coming out? You said it earlier. Too small. He's too small. And usually when you have somebody who can come out and be an anomaly, or at least kind of break the stereotype, then that bodes well for the rest of them, right? So if he comes out and let's say he balled this year, now the next guy who's 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot is a great thing. He benefited from Russell Wilson. He benefited from Drew Brees, right? Those guys who were smaller who ended up succeeding. And that's one of the things he's also doing right now is setting anybody up who's 6 foot and under back, because they can say, see, I told you he's too small. Look at the counterpart of CJ Stroud. Big, huge, big arm. We already knew what he was doing in Ohio State. So he's also setting that next group of smaller quarterbacks back as well by the way in which he's been playing.
No doubt about it. And maybe the Panthers should have figured this out when he came in for a visit before they drafted him, and they took him out to lunch to McDonald's, and they said that he won a Happy Meal for him.
I should have known where this was coming. Where they take him next? To Disneyland, and he got on the rides for free because he was under a certain height? Is that what they did next?
I think they should have known right there when they offered him a Happy Meal.
I don't like the way you look at him. I told you I'm 5'10.5" now. All right, don't disrespect me like that, Rob. I don't like the way you looking. But no, he honestly put himself in a position where, look, bro, sometimes you got to have a seat. Right? You just got to have this seat. Now, that doesn't mean it's the end of your career, but you got to have this seat. You're not playing well, and everybody in that organization has to find somebody to blame, right? They're not going to fire themselves. Coaches
can't get rid of everybody, right?
GM, we can't just alter the whole defense or in one swoop. So somebody has to take the blame, and right now it's Bryce Young, and you hope that he's able to bounce back at some point, but you got to have a seat. It's a seat on the pine for you, bro. Come warm it up.